Have you tried everything but are still stressed? It's exhausting, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
It's also disheartening that when we feel like we've been trying everything to feel better, yet nothing seems to be working. This often leads us to give up and resigning to the idea that this is how life is, wondering if we should just get on with it. And it's commonplace to leave our dreams on the table and resign ourselves to jobs that we dislike, average relationships, and mediocre health. Okay, we end up playing small, but knowing deep down we're meant for more, yet never getting a taste of what more really feels like. It can become too easy to live in resentment of what could have been and witness our self-esteem drop to an all-time low, leaving us feeling alone and looking for relief in mindless ways. Needless to say, all areas of life are either ticking along complacently or beginning to suffer.
And if this sounds like you, please don't worry. That's what we're going to be shedding our light on today. So here's the thing. You know it doesn't have to be this way, which is why you're even listening to us right now. You can sense that perhaps there's just a piece of the puzzle that you haven't quite found yet. And deep down, you have faith in yourself that you can find it. Right? You know that you can live your dream. You can have epic relationships full of love, laughter, belonging, intimacy, and deep connection. You can create a life based on what's important to you. And you can feel a sense of freedom and peace of mind. You can perform at your highest levels and enjoy it. You can feel an unshakable sense of certainty and adventure. And you can leave the legacy that you desire. And you know this to be true, which is why you're here. And you are so right.
And it's more than possible, guys. And today we're going to reveal the missing puzzle pieces for you. If you feel like you've tried everything but still stressed out of your mind and experiencing stress-like patterns, for example, self-sabotage, overthinking, anxiety, overwhelm, depression, fatigue, feeling stuck, lost, or experiencing unwanted behaviors, then pay close attention to what we're sharing today.
So first of all though, before we get into this, please know that stress can be a symptom of just not having the foundational well-being strategies in place, right? So before you go any further, I strongly advise you check out the 8 core wellness practices in your quest for stress relief. These are easy wins and can eliminate stress and get you back on track. And you can discover more about those in the episode we did on 8 wellness practices that you'll ever need to live a healthy life. And the links for that will be in the show notes.
Or you can take a few minutes to complete our quiz we created. It'll give you a score based on how well you have these strategies dialed in. Again, the link will be found in the show notes. But unfortunately for many people, it can be tricky to embody health practices, and this in itself is a signal that there is something deeper going on that needs our attention. Okay, because stress runs deeper than we think. Underneath the way we present ourselves to the world, there's a part in all of us that requires our attention at some point in life. Often it takes a significant emotional event or a heightened level of pain for us to shine a light on it.
For me, it took hitting rock bottom and coming close to ending my own life. And in that moment, I knew that something had to change. I didn't know what, but I hoped that there was more to life than these tormenting thoughts and painful emotions that I was feeling.
Now, regardless of our wake-up call, whether it be a near-death experience, a divorce, a spiral depression, or anything else, we all have a pivotal moment where we need to take a closer look inside. We call this our root level. And you can read more about this in our blog, Surviving Stress versus Completing Stress, and the link we'll put into the show notes for you. Because when stress gets too much and we feel like we're running out of options, the root level is what needs our attention. At our root level, we're revealing the conditioning of who we are at the core. Everything at this level is influencing our quality of life and how we feel mentally, physically, and emotionally. Our root level explores key areas that have the power to create lasting positive change in our lives.
The areas in the root level are unresolved negative emotions, our belief system, our sense of identity, our core values, as in what's important to us, our habits and patterns, our masculine and feminine energy, our ability to self-regulate, our inner child integration, attachment injuries, past traumas, our life's purpose, and our survival, psychological and spiritual needs. So if ever you've found it hard to stick to wellness practices or felt like I did, lost, getting easily emotionally triggered or experiencing chronic issues, or if you've ever felt like you're drowning, like wanting to explode or just give up altogether, then you need to explore these areas. Now, please note, always seek professional help when working with mental, emotional and physical well-being. It's a must, because the areas discussed today require a sensitive, compassionate and gentle approach.
Definitely. And see, as we grow up, these areas are often hidden behind life distractions. But in truth, this is what's running the show. It's likely there is compounded stress from past experiences and patterns which need to be resolved. But check out our stress stacking episode to discover more on this. So when this is happening, it's common to see survival mechanisms here. For example, the need to control outcomes, the need to protect ourselves or others, avoidance patterns such as withdrawing or deflection, codependency, maybe seeking external validation, lack of vulnerability, and retreating in shame, guilt, or fear.
Now, if you can resonate with any of those, then this is also a sign that your root level needs your attention sooner rather than later. When we resolve underlying issues at the root level, we integrate our shadow self. We truly embody who we are, and the ability to self-regulate becomes second nature. We have a deep sense of knowing all is well and experiencing heightened states of contentment and peace. Plus, your behaviour becomes super efficient and you can perform at the highest levels. Now, of course, life will still have its challenges, but the solutions will be anchored in a place of resource. The areas shared in this episode are worth exploring if stress isn't being resolved through lifestyle and subtle everyday changes.
Now, here's what you can do now to start exploring how to create lasting change at the root of stress. Now, the first one here is seek assistance. And we can't emphasize strongly enough how important it is to work through deeper issues with a professional who is qualified and experienced in the areas mentioned today. Professionals in this field come in an array of qualifications and backgrounds. So here's some food for thought when it comes to a difference between a therapist and a coach. So therapists are the kind of trauma surgeons, like the emergency room personnel and paramedics of the mental health and well-being community. Coaches, on the other hand, have a fully stocked first aid kit and skills to put into good use, but are not trauma surgeons. A coach will assist you in creating changes in your life, and depending on their specialism, can help uncover areas of opportunity within your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Choose whatever feels right for you where you are now. If you're unsure, you're welcome to book a discovery call with us to gain clarity on what's appropriate for you. If we're a good fit to work together, great, but the purpose of the call is to signpost you to what you need. And the link to book a call will be in the show notes.
So here is what you can do now, like right now as you listen to this episode, if you feel comfortable to. Start to self-audit. So grab your journal and start to reflect on the areas we're about to mention and go into a bit more depth on. So notice what you feel resonates with you and where you could use a bit more clarity or exploration. Awareness is the key here. So the first one is unresolved negative emotions. Now, unresolved emotions often stem from lack of education in emotional awareness and wellbeing practices. Unfortunately, it's still commonplace to bottle up our feelings and carry on with life without expressing them. And this can lead to dis-ease, discomfort, and unhappy life. So ask yourself if you feel like you're holding on to emotions from the past. Perhaps you recall memories and still hold strong feelings. If you don't feel in control of emotions, it's a sign that there is emotion to release. There are many ways to do this. Here at Wellness Theory, we use time paradigm techniques, breathwork, and quantum flow to help clients release their unresolved negative emotions.
So the next one here is belief systems. So do your thoughts and beliefs serve you? We learn how to think and what to believe from society and family dynamics. And unless we explore what we believe, we are operating in the world from inherited beliefs instead of consciously choosing our own. So ask yourself, if the beliefs you hold are helping you create the life you want, do you feel clear and content about what you believe? And are your beliefs holding you back in any way?
The next area to self-audit is our identity. How we identify with ourselves affects how we show up in the world. If you see yourself as a shy person, you'll be shy. If you see yourself as an anxious person, you'll be anxious. If you see yourself as an ambitious, healthy person, you'll see yourself as an ambitious, healthy person, right? You'll act based on what you believe about yourself. So reflect on how you describe yourself internally. What do you identify with? And is it aligned with who you are and the person you want to grow into?
Next up, we have core values. Now, values are what we consider to be most important in any context of our lives. Our subconscious will revert back to our values for our motivational fuel. They will determine our self-initiated motivation. Now, values are our driving force. They are what we talk about, what we think about, and are often a reflection of our lives. And if we are aware of our values and live aligned with our values, we will have a higher sustained motivation. It is crucial for personal growth to be on a path that supports and nurtures your values. So ask yourself, what's important in your life? What's most important in your relationships? What's most important in your health? What's most important in your career? What's most important in your environment? You get the picture. Ask yourself this question in every area of your life.
The next area to audit is habits and patterns. These are the building blocks of our life. Everything we do is a result of a repeated behaviour. So first, observe yourself and list all of the habits and patterns that you notice about yourself. Then note which ones serve you and which ones don't. Decide which habits you'd like to change and reflect on how to change them.
Next up, we have masculine and feminine energy. Okay, everyone, regardless of gender, encompasses both masculine and feminine energy. It's the yin-yang that resides within us. These polarities influence how we feel and how well we function in relationships. Exploring our own masculine and feminine energy dynamic helps to bring them into balance, which gives us a greater feeling of harmony and fulfillment. Typically, the masculine energy is characterized by doing and the feminine by being. Neither one is better or worse than the other. However, our awareness allows us to nurture and navigate what we choose to call forward so we can show up consciously and intentionally. So start to notice where you use logic and reason, which is masculine, or intuition and creativity, which is feminine. This will give you initial insight to how balanced your energy is.
Next up is our inner child. So every adult has an inner child, sometimes more than one, and often our stress is a symptom of a neglected part of ourselves. For example, needing to be seen and heard because we weren't when we were children. We then try to meet these unmet needs as adults, right? So ask yourself, what do you feel was missing when you were a child? How can you be loving and compassionate to that younger version of yourself now? Can you be the adult that you needed then and show your inner child that level of care?
And next we're going on to attachment injuries. And the way we learn to form attachments with our caregivers and family members teaches us relational skills. It is believed to be foundational and shapes the dynamics of all relationships we have in adulthood. The safer and more secure the bond between child and their immediate caregivers, the safer and more secure the child feels in the world at large. Now reflect on your family relationships and see how you felt and how it could be influencing you today.
Next up is self-regulation. So we need to reflect on our ability to bring ourselves back into balance without being reliant on external factors. Being able to manage our emotions, energy, thoughts, and behaviours is vital for happy relationships and a healthy life. And our ability to regulate ourselves through life is the difference between peace and alignment or discomfort and struggle. So how do you regulate yourself? Do you rely on other people, substances, entertainment, or yourself? Observe yourself and notice when you are regulated versus dysregulated.
Next thing here to self-audit is unresolved trauma. Now, trauma is anything that jerks your nervous system out of rhythm. Anything from abuse to waking up to loud noises create a trauma response in your system. The intensity of traumatic experiences depends on the individual. Unresolved trauma affects daily life because it creates lasting effects on our nervous system, which influences how we perceive threats and how we think and feel in everyday situations. Here are a few signs of unresolved trauma that could be affecting your daily life. The inability to connect deeply with others, the addictive behaviors, anxiety, helplessness, zero self-worth, inability to deal with conflict, shame, intrusive thoughts, just to name a few. Okay, so if you resonate with any of the above, seek professional support to help you resolve unresolved trauma in a healthy and safe way.
Yeah. So next up to audit is your life's purpose. So when we lack purpose in our life or unclear of what our purpose could be, it's common to get distracted and end up on a path that others set for us rather than following our own. Now this leads to us becoming further away from our true selves and often ends up in midlife crisis or identity crisis somewhere along the line. And it can be very frustrating and leave us feeling lost or in limbo about life. You do not have to have it all figured out though. You do need to start to tune in to what lights you up and what brings meaning to your life. Having a life's purpose is about knowing your life's message, and you can live that expression of your message every day. It's about who you are, not where you're going. So when we have a clear picture of our life's purpose, it's easy for us to follow through on goals and act in meaningful ways. What could your life purpose be?
So next up here is survival, psychological and spiritual needs. Now everyone on the planet has these needs. However, most are unaware of what they are and many don't really know how to fulfill them. Even those who are aware of these needs struggle because they try to fulfill the needs out of order, which is like trying to run before you can walk. Okay, this is a huge sticking point for anyone who wants to live a happy, healthy and meaningful life. So here's a quick overview of these needs. The first one being survival. So these are our basic Physiological needs which keep our body functioning. These include air, water, food, shelter, sex, sleep, warmth, rest, and movement. Once these are met, we search for safety. Okay, in order to survive, we must feel safe within ourselves and within our environment. Feeling safe within ourselves requires an ability to self-regulate. Feeling secure in our environment is essential for safety and is why we feel calmer when we have a sense of order and control in our lives. We are drawn to financial security, law and order, social and emotional stability. A common mistake most people make here is creating safety in their environment without first ensuring that they are feeling safe within themselves.
Next up is the psychological part of the needs, right? So once our survival needs are taken care of, we need to fulfill our need to belong, have self-esteem, feed our cognitive function, and appreciate beauty and balance in all its forms. So our basic human needs here are certainty, variety, love and connection, significance, growth, and contribution. If we neglect any one of these needs, it can result in depression, poor life satisfaction, anxiety, or loss of identity.
The next we have spiritual needs. It's our nature to be curious. We want to grow and fulfill our potential. It's natural to seek. However, the modern tendency has become to seek a destination. The classic if-then mentality. If I stop my anxiety, then I'll be happy. Or if I earn $1 million, then I'll live my dream. But that's not what our spiritual needs are about. Our spiritual needs are about becoming who we really are, connecting to our true essence, and it's a continual process of living in the meaning we give to our lives. Some people find this in religion, sport, artistic creation, parenthood, entrepreneurship, volunteering. It's different for everyone. But the key is to call back your spirit and realize what makes your soul come alive.
So listen, if you struggle after that self-audit to think or observe yourself deeply in these areas, hop on a call with us and we'll shine some lights on what your next step could be. All right. So eliciting personal answers by ourselves can be tricky because we don't know what we don't know, but having support whilst exploring them will open your awareness up for faster resolution.
Now, I bet you're thinking that this sounds like a lot. And you're right, it is a lot, but we are complex beings which require deeper exploration if we want to live a truly aligned and peaceful life. But the good news is that some of these areas will already be in good shape compared to others, which means you're not starting from scratch. Simply reflecting and being aware of the moving parts that are at play inside of us can start to relieve stress. And hopefully by revealing these puzzle pieces, you can see that you are not crazy and there is nothing wrong with you. This is what every human being has to contend with. And you are not alone. And even if you feel like you need further support, but it feels scary to ask for help, please know that you are not alone in that too. The fact that you've listened to us until this point shows that you have the courage and the strength to work on this stuff. But the question now is, if not now, then when?
Golden question. So listen, if you've tried everything but are still stressed out, if you're exhausted and disheartened about where you are in life, and this is a signal that something is going on at that root level, okay? The root level is where we create lasting change in our life. It's where you can finally be free from suffering and become so aligned that you can live the life that you want. A life of peace, adventure, freedom, love, laughter. Does that sound good? Right? If you'd like to discuss the areas that we've spoken about in today's episode, then we invite you to hop on a call, have a chat with us so that we can really help you to at least know what your next steps are. It's super, super, super important because this stuff, it can feel quite heavy to think about it all and know that perhaps this might need a little bit of work. But listen, that's okay. That's all part of life and we're here to help you navigate that. All right? So until next time.
Be well, mean well, and make a difference that lasts.
See ya.